here today with the amazing Jenna Tomer. She's one of my colleagues, and I would say an expert in the field of holistic and functional medicine, but also a mom of three. And I am so excited to have her here today and to share some helpful things on health and well-being. Jenna, would you tell us a little bit about who you are and your journey of where you how you have come to do what you do now?
Absolutely. And it's an honor to be here. I'm excited for those of you who are going to listen to this and learn a lot today because, I'm sure you know by now, Miriam, her expertise and all that she does. And for me, we've known each other for a few years because of my passion for holistic and functional medicine. That has been going on for about 8 years now. I'll tell you how I got into that in a minute. But I knew from the time I was 6 years old that I wanted to be a nurse. And my mom thought I was broken as a child because I wouldn't watch cartoons. And I'd watch, I think it was the Health Channel on TLC. And I would just watch the Health Channel all day. And I would set up my room like a NICU. And people are like, what is wrong with this child? Like, she's different, right? And so I've always loved the idea of helping people feel better. And I went to Liberty for my bachelor's in nursing. So achieved that and went right into trauma at 21 years old, started working in trauma. Then I went into neurointensive care and worked in Florida, which was a really incredible experience. Then I worked back in ER and urgent care. And through all of this, I started a family and I had my first child. Then I had my second. And when my oldest was almost 3, I really noticed he was he was actually 18 months when I first noticed, okay, there's some type of regression here. There's something that just happened. And, I was really kind of dumbfounded by this, because all I knew was modern medicine. And so I kept on thinking, it's my first child. And I'm sure some moms are going to listen to this and you're going to get what I mean. You have this like, just love for your child, but you really don't know what you're doing with your first child. You think you do, but you're like, it's just going through a little phase. It wasn't a phase, he was banging his head into the wall. He was starting to not make any eye contact. He lost his speech almost overnight. And he was saying 3-word phrases before that happened. And, it was a little bit of a distracting time because I then was, like I said, I was pregnant with my daughter when this stuff started, but then I had her, she's this little baby. So I ended up taking him to Children's to get tested, like what's going on here. And he was diagnosed with nonverbal autism. And in that moment, my world stopped. I felt completely frozen thinking about, will he ever have friends? Will he ever be able to go to school? Will he ever be able to move out of my house? Will he ever be able to hold a job? Will he ever be able to have a relation? All of these thoughts just running through my head for this child who, he was still looked like my son, but it was like he was just not there anymore, guys. It was like the light switch was off and he wasn't there. And so I, for the first time in my life, sought help medically from people that I didn't know. So I joined all the Facebook groups I possibly could join. I started making friends with a lot of moms, and they would say, okay, well, these are the dietary changes we did, and this is what we did in our home to swap out toxins, and this, and this, and this, and this. And then along came a friend, and she wasn't a friend at the time. I honestly didn't know her at all. And she said, I've heard about your story. You should try a heavy metal detox on your son. And I did the heavy metal detox on him, and he started to get 3-word phrases back within 48 to 72 hours. And my husband, his name is D, goes by D, we looked at each other and we said, oh my gosh, are we imagining this? Is this just a fluke? Like, what's happening? Right. And so it was a miracle. We thank God for it. God can heal in so many different ways. And I believe he can use, just supernatural healing through prayer. I believe that sometimes your prayers are answered through a friend on the internet saying, try this. And that was that story. And that was the beginning. Ryder had already been in ABA for 2 years at this point. He had already been in speech. He had already been in OT. He had already been in so many things with no progress. So that really just, woo, like my eyes just like open, and I was like, okay, this is where my passion is. This is what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to slowly start learning this and swapping these things out. And I'm going to advocate like crazy on the internet. So I went back for my nurse practitioner degree at Chamberlain University. And then I was finishing up my doctorate at Chamberlain to open up my own practice when 2020 happened. And in 2020, they definitely didn't take clinical rotations. They definitely didn't take students. I couldn't get in anywhere for those rotations, but God always has a plan. And the plan in that was you're just going to be online and you're going to make friends all over the world. And I'm going to introduce you to people and you're going to learn from them and you're going to teach people. And it's just going to be this beautiful community in which it grows like crazy. So 2020, I actually got to work with the man who created WebMD. I'm sure you guys have used that website. He's a naturopath and people within that company. And I worked on product development and developing products and holistic products. And it was so much fun. I learned so much, not only about product development and what goes into it and the standards and the third party testing and all that. I also learned about business a heck of a lot. And that's where Miriam and I met. And that was a 3.5 year, process in my life. And in that time, Miriam and I saw 80,000 people come into, this business and, able to help them with their health, right? It was a really huge blessing. The thing that I lacked in that was really getting a little bit further down into root cause, a little bit further of just like, let's really make sure people are getting better and that we have this really amazing supportive community. And in 2021, told you all about my son. I was diagnosed with Lyme disease. My husband was diagnosed with Lyme disease, and I could hardly get out of bed. And I had had these mystery symptoms like fatigue and dizziness since I was 18 years old. And so it kind of all started to fall into place. And I hired the number one Lyme practitioners in the United States. I did homeopathy, I did herbal protocols, I did IV infusions. I did it all. I bought a penf mat in my house, saunas, ionic foot baths. I did it all. I followed every little detox protocol you can imagine. Okay, first we're going to open up our detox pathways. Then we're going to go after parasites. Then we're going to go after candida. Then we're going to go after mold. And you know what it was like, you guys? It was like playing whack-a-mole. Have you ever played that game where you're just boom, 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 and you're
Yeah.
just, as soon as I would fix one thing, Miriam, something else would pop up. So
Yeah.
along came an angel and said, you need to try this. This has worked for my Lyme disease. There's this product line that you need to try that's all frequency based and you need to try it. I said, frequency. I don't even like, what is that even? What, like, I had a penf mat. I understood that it put out these frequencies to really support your cells. But how are we getting frequency on nutrition? What the heck does that mean? No one's done that before. So that's really how Miriam and I came to this because it's never been done before. And we had such amazing results. And that's just who I am, you guys. I am a mom, I am a wife, I am a Christ follower, and I am someone who is going to open up my own practice here in Maryland. But because of my son and my story, God led me here to really the holistic side to advocate for people on the internet because you can work with people in all different countries and really help them. So, yeah, I hope that helps you guys get a little glimpse of who I am. And Miriam, I know that was a lot, but hopefully.
No, yeah, your story is so powerful. And I think that's the thing that people often underestimate, that your story can be so powerful and you can share and be able to help other people. There's a way. So awesome. And I always laugh when you say when you were a kid, you were like watching the medical stuff, because when I was a kid, I literally would set up and pretend to do surgery on my baby dolls. Like I literally like so I totally like yep, I was a weird kid too. It's okay. We're
Look
nerdland.
at us now.
But yeah, so I was always passionate about health in one way or another over the years, which that's why I went into healthcare. But I love how you shared about, with your son, and because that's, started kind of where I also became interested in learning more about holistic health. Of course, I just had seen so many patients that some of the traditional medical care just wasn't working because there was inflammation and the stress and the issues with sleep and the nutritional things where, the blood sugar, blood pressure, all that stuff was just not resolved even with medications and stuff. But also one of my daughters had like it was a smaller thing, just like an eczema issue, but that's when I started seeing how functional and holistic medicine works. And then, so the eyes started opening up and the brain started going, the wheels started turning, and that's when I started studying holistic health and nutrition and all the things, and that's kind of what led me on the journey. And it's just I always find it funny how sometimes we think we're going to do this A or B or whatever, and God's like, well, actually I'm going to take you on this whole other journey, and we end up doing things that we never thought we would do. We end up meeting people we never thought we would meet, and it's just incredible how many people you've been able to help, and that being able to utilize the online space that we now have these days has enabled us to really reach more people than we ever could in just, a traditional type of practice or a job or what have you. And that's incredible. With the biofrequency, I think that's so amazing, but I think a lot of people still find it a challenge to wrap their brain around how does this actually work? And so let's dive into that a little bit, I think. So one of the things that helped me start like clicking with that, turn the light bulb on a little bit, was I had talked to some other colleagues and I'd been studying nutrition and stuff, and I came across that term biofrequency, and I'm like, what are we talking about? Is this, is this some like new age thing? Because I think there's a lot of confusion because there's so many things out there where people it's all about the crystals and whatnot, and I mean minerals have their place and there's certain things that do have some benefits, but I'm like, okay, well, what is that, like, how does that scientifically work? That's always my question, like, how does that actually scientifically work? And come to find out, biofrequency is basically measuring the frequency or the rate at which things are occurring in the body, like our brain waves, heart rate, all that stuff. And now, because of our advanced physics, we can see what's happening in the molecules of the body and the little electrons. And when we can support those electrons in our cells, our mitochondria in our cells can function so much better. And I think that's why we've seen such a profound difference in using these 11 harmonic biofrequency charges with the nutritional support for our clients and for ourselves. I think that's why it's been such a profound difference, because on a molecular level, the cells are able to use those micronutrients and the mitochondria are able to repair the DNA and help do so much more. Of course, as a practitioner, I'm always an advocate of healthy lifestyle and healthy eating, and all those things are wonderful and important. But if the cells in the mitochondria are having an issue, then we're not going to see those results. So I would love to have you share a little bit more about how you've seen that profound difference. I know I have with like my autoimmune, where basically my autoimmune antibodies almost disappeared. And I've seen so many results with clients as well. But would you share a little bit more on that?
Absolutely. So, I was on 30 different supplements a day for Lyme disease. And so was my husband. And we were getting our DNA checked every 6 weeks. And I do not regret any part of the money we spent, even though it was astronomical. I will say, I don't regret it because of the education component. So, as much when you're like literally one on one with these top Lyme disease doctors, I'm learning from them, constantly, and what every single herb and every single homeopathic, thing does. And I'm learning. It was a great learning experience. And it allows me to have so much empathy for the autoimmune, right? I was diagnosed with interstitial cystitis, Graves' disease, Lyme, and like every co-infection that can go with Lyme. And we lived in black mold. So my body was like lighting up like a Christmas tree on these DNA scans. And that's what I mean by playing whack-a-mole, right? So I was on 30 supplements, and I didn't think, Miriam, that I was really going to get any result from our Rise product because I was already taking methylated B vitamins. I was already on amino acids. I was already on nootropics. I already was taking a mushroom blend. But you know what I was excited about was that I wasn't going to have to take it in pill form anymore. I was really excited that I was just going to be able to drink it. So like it's right here in front of me. I'm going to take it actually right after this call. And so this came to my door, right? Source. So here we go. We're taking this stuff, and you just start with the Rise. That's like my rule. Just start with that for 2 weeks, but you're going to add in Source, within the 2 weeks time. I took this and I didn't expect anything. My husband took it at the same time as me. In 15 minutes, he looks at me. He goes, "Do you feel that?" I feel like a light switch just went on in my head. And I said, "No, I don't feel anything." This was at the 15-minute mark. And then at the 30-minute mark, I said, "Wow, I think I am feeling, I feel like my vision's clear and my brain is open. And I haven't felt like this in so long. I actually don't know if I've ever felt like this. Like to where all the tabs in my head are not like, like a computer system, all the tabs are open. Like that wasn't happening. And I was able to have this calm energy and I was able to focus. So then being just, I'm a realist and a logical person. I'm not a dreamer. I'm a doer. I am very much like, let's just test this thing out. Okay. Kind of like this necklace. I could talk to you about that at the end too, Miriam, because once again, total skeptic about this thing. I just was like, it's cute. I'm buying it. So um, I felt amazing. And then as the day went on, I was like, I'm going to crash. Like, watch. I'm like, let's just pay attention, but I'm sure I'm going to crash and feel exhausted. I'm thinking of like when you drink coffee or you have something that takes you up. I was ready to come down from it. Even though I had this calm energy, guys, that didn't happen. I just felt amazing. Oh, this was in April, at the end of April of this year in 2024 that I'm talking about. My husband and I took the kids. We have 3 kids. We took them to the park. We're sitting there on the picnic table and we just look at each other and we're looking around because our brain is finally just calm and open. And we're like, we both said, is this what it feels like to be normal? Did we even feel like this when we were kids? We started asking each other that. And that's when we knew we had to meet the owner and the CEO of this company. And we said, we need to meet them. We need to ask them about their infrastructure, their logistics, their third party testing, and how they manufacture, where their warehouses are. What is the future of this company? What does the back office look like? What's the website? Of course, Barb Pitcock is our owner and CEO, as well as her husband, Dave Pitcock. But I was on the phone with Barb. She goes, "You put me through an interrogation process." And I thought I was being nice, but she says I was interrogating her. But regardless, we're besties now and I love her. And, the reason I had those stringent questions is because I will not attach my name to just anything. I looked at 90 different companies when it came to the business side, but this is the only product I have ever taken that I have felt results like this, where they're compounding. And here I am talking to you on this podcast 8 months later. And I'm like, I'm still getting results. I'm still feeling better and better. Even I was at Hobby Lobby this morning and I'm walking through, Miriam, and I normally am a little off balance, just a little bit off balance as I'm walking around. That's just something. POTS is one of my fun little diagnoses. It was thrown in there too. So that was completely gone this morning. I don't think I've, been able to say that. And so this necklace we just released is tuned with our 11 frequencies. And that's what makes these products so different is they're all tuned, which Miriam can go into that a little bit more, but they all have gone into a $700,000 machine for 48 hours and every supplement's tuned. And this is an 18 karat gold necklace that we're almost sold out of. So by the time you listen to this podcast, I don't even know if we'll have it. But what I want you to know is this I thought is cute. I want it. It says gratitude and I just want to wear it. It has our F on the other side. So, guys, I hope there's some ladies listening to this and they just understand what I'm saying. Like, you're like, you just want the necklace. Put it
Yeah.
on. And I literally felt this like energy, like from this thing. And I'm like, I'm losing my mind. Just that's not real. There's no way. Even though this has changed my life for 8 months, I'm still a skeptic. I'm a realist. I told you. So I just asked people this morning in our community, I'm like, are you guys feeling different with this, frequency tuned thing that you're wearing around your neck? And you guys, you should read the testimonials for different people with MS and people who are having respiratory issues, breathing issues. The list goes on. And they're like, yes. And we've only been wearing this for a few days. So that's just when you're constantly raising the megahertz of every major organ system through this mixed with taking frequency nutrition.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Your hip, I
Cells in
mean,
the body just start. Yeah.
yeah.
I like how I've heard, I think it was you and couple other people say something like it's like aligning your spine, but for the cells in the body, right? Yeah, and so the science is just phenomenal. There's so many incredible studies out there. There's things like the water experiments done by a doctor where the sound vibrations have such a profound impact on water molecules. So you can see the tangible, effects, and so many more biofrequency studies out there. There's been studies of like around the holiday time of how the sound, certain sounds that we have a lot more around the holidays, like bells, have a profound impact on our cells and on even, our neurons and things like that. I mean, there's studies on how music has affected patients in the operating room. That's,
Yes.
that sound waves. So many different things. It's just incredible. And I love how you said, is this what normal feels like? You were sharing a little bit ago. And I think that that's the thing, like, this is about a new normal. And for me as a mom, as someone, I did have some autoimmune as well. Everyone is so different, but I think a lot of moms feel like, well, I guess this is my new normal because we've tried, the coffee, we've taken the vitamins, we've done all the things. And it's like, well, I guess I'm just permanently brain fogged. I guess I'm just gonna always have to drag myself through most days or survive on 5 cups of coffee or whatever it is that you utilize for some sort of energy or whatever. And we just kind of, at least that's where I was at. And I think a lot of other moms that I've seen the same thing, like, oh, I guess this is the new normal, And then when we find something like this, where, the cells are so supported, we have, the neurons in the brain functioning better, so many different areas of support with the 11 harmonic biofrequencies, all of a sudden we're like, wait a minute. Like there's a new normal, that is huge. So, if you're listening to this and you've been in that place for whatever reason, whether you're a mom or you just have had any kind of health things going on, whatever it is, like I want to tell you there is hope because I was there. Jenna was there. So many of us were there where we had the cabinet full of supplements and we've done all the healthy things, but there were certain areas where we just didn't, see any differences. And for me, that was like, that would have been enough if it was just that the brain fog cleared and I could focus. I've realized with the whole squirrel brain or mom brain or whatever you want to call it, that, I used to walk in a room and do like 20 other things and then walk out and not remember why I went in that room. Like that was just normal. I had to write lists and lists and lists to stay on track each day. And now I realized I can walk in and I remember what I'm doing and I stay on track. I might do one or two other extra things while I'm in, and then I walk out and I actually remembered why I went into that room. I don't actually have to write a list anymore. I still do sometimes, but I can actually productively stay on track like 98% without needing a list. That for me was absolutely huge, because that was never, I could not function without my list, basically. My 5 cups of coffee and my list or lists, multiple, once upon a time. So, anyways, I just want to share that there is hope, and I love to hear your story and other people's stories because some people feel like they're alone, and they've gone to all the doctors, they've done all the things, and there really were no answers. They couldn't find a solution, or they couldn't even just figure out really what was going on, and they just got a bunch of late, diagnoses like you had, with different autoimmune and stuff.
Yeah.
And I hope that this encourages you. Please make sure you connect with Jenna or myself if you need more information. And we would love to come alongside you wherever you're at to support you and help you feel your best.
Absolutely. And I just want you guys to know how delicious this is. When we say 7 organic mushrooms, don't think it tastes like it's so good. You'll crave it
Oh, yeah.
every single day. That's like, I'm like, I love this, Miriam, and talking to you, but I honestly can't wait to just go make it. So that's kind of, it's a really fun product too. So just know that we've made, it's the easy button to taking care of every single organ system in your body and raising that frequency. And Miriam, you are such a gift. Thank you for having me on here, and thank you for helping as many people as you do. This has been a lot of fun, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day and they got something out of this. I always say, I hope you leave with hope that you do not have to keep living in survival mode. You actually just get to live and enjoy what's around you. That's the hope I want people to feel when they learn about this. So thank you, Miriam.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for your time. Make sure you connect with us. And I do have longer little webinars and things if you want more in-depth information. You need all the science if you're someone that needs that. So we look forward to next time. Take care.